The time has come for my LS Swap 911 to hit the dyno, and a website called wheelwell was kind enough to sponsor this for me. It's a site for car enthusiasts geared towards modders in particular to share their builds, but also list, review, and discuss the parts they use, and even shop for a great deal on the parts that they're looking for. I've recently set up a wheelwell account for Apollo 911, listing many of the parts I've used for the build, which I've never listed anywhere before. So check that out in my wheelwell page in the link below, and join me and thousands of others in building a great new enthusiast community. For those who are around way back in the olden days of my YouTube channel, way back in 2016 when Barack Obama was president and the iPhone 7 was released, this idiot started a YouTube channel with a crazy purchase. A 1999 Porsche 911 with 243,000 miles, which I bought for only $9,500. It was the cheapest running clean title 911 with a manual transmission for sale in the USA at the time, and I wanted to prove the original drivetrain was still healthy. So I took it to the dyno to see how much power the old engine was putting out. Take a look. I hate watching those cringy old videos where I talk even more like a game show host than I do now, but 239 horsepower was a pretty satisfying result, considering there's normal loss of the drivetrain from the crank to the wheels, and the fact that that old motor had traveled the equivalent distance from the Earth to the Moon. Unfortunately, the engine wasn't long for this world, and I blew it up on a track day about 6 months and 6,000 miles later. It really wasn't the engine's fault, more like the driver ignoring the gauges, but the damage was done and the decision was made to LS swap. It was a very expensive and very stupid decision. $17,000 and 4 months later, I have a completed car that is obviously much more powerful than before, but to find out exactly how much, I needed to take it to the dyno again. But before that, I'm going to shamelessly beg for subscribers, since I'm so close to 200,000 subs and I've never ever begged for subs before. I know a lot of you are watching without subscribing, so just do it. Have you hit the like button yet? Seriously, people are waiting. I got all day, guys. This is probably going to backfire as people will get pissed and unsubscribe, so .71 horsepower was the best result out of 3 pulls, which is really great for a stock motor. For reference, a stock 2005 Corvette, where my LS2 engine came from, puts out 340-ish horsepower at the wheels. Mine is reading 371 at the wheels, probably because my car is more efficient in the power delivery through the Porsche transaxle, which was adapted to fit the LS2. And my intake and exhaust are more free-flowing than stock. Additionally, I used an aftermarket computer for this build, tuned to give 15 extra horsepower over stock. The original plan was to have the engine tuned for more power, but unfortunately Chris the Dyno Wizard noticed the fuel pressure couldn't keep up. If I wanted any more power gains, I was going to have to upgrade my fuel pump. But honestly, I'm not sure if I want any more gains. The power reading puts me right at my goal of being at the same league as a 996 chassis 911 Turbo and the GT3, which, when I think of my investment in comparison to the price of one of those much more expensive cars, the cost seems a little more justified, but not really. From a dollar per horsepower standpoint, I spent $128 for each extra pony pushing my tatty Porsche down the road. $128. Good Lord. Though I will say, since this journey has ended, my Porsche has been dead reliable, and it's a car that I don't worry about anymore, although I could have just bought an LS2 with an entire Corvette surrounding it for about the same money. Next for Apollo 911 is to keep doing these tests to see if it holds together, which, speaking of, I recently watched one of Mr. Spaghetti, Rob Ferretti of Super Speeders videos, and he's talking about the Project Car Challenge he's hosting next year. And apparently for an older car to qualify, it needs to put out at least 50% more horsepower than it did when it was stock. My car is putting out 55% more horses than stock, so I guess it qualifies, but should I do it? Am I even on Mr. Spaghetti's radar? I seriously doubt the super speeder has time to watch anything between all the time he spends ranting about Rob Dahm. For the endurance run described in the Project Car Challenge, I'd probably want to upgrade the brakes, maybe put some adjustable shocks on, and tune the suspension properly, and just to be sure, add a little inline radiator, even though I've had zero cooling problems. But here I go, just lighting money on fire again. I know you all secretly watch this channel hoping for the next explosion or to see when I eventually file for bankruptcy, so I'm sure I'll get widespread support for this cause. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hit that like button if you think I would have been better off LS swapping a blender.